I'm Mary McInnes-Meyer. This is Val Engel, and today we will be taking you through a conditioning sequence that prepares you for a pose called Eka Pada Galavasana, flying pigeon pose. You'll find out more about that later. For now, we're going to go through a prep sequence that really hits the hips from all directions while strengthening our core and our upper body. So we start out, and we are starting out in a plank. The plank is done with the feet together and a strong squeeze to the midline. And we breathe really smoothly and evenly, so inhale and exhale. So on your inhales, you can focus on chest kind of moving forward, down the arm bones and forward. On the exhales, really focus on the squeeze of the lower body. That'll help you to fire the core. Okay, so we stay here for several breaths because I want this action of squeezing to the midline to become ingrained, and then we're going to contrast it with action from going from adduction action to abduction action. So maybe one more breath. You got it?
Yep.
She's got it. Okay. All right, so now take your feet to hip width and then just hinge back into a down dog. So you'll find that when you hinge back into a down dog, it's probably a little longer of a stance than what you like. But we're going to do this because as we move through this next sequence, you'll be able to get the length of stance that you want. You'll see. All right, so from here, simply inhale out to a plank, and your shoulders will probably precede your wrists a little. Exhale into down dog. Now take your feet about 1 foot width wider on either side. Inhale out to the plank. And exhale to the down dog. And we continue to do this. Take the feet a little bit wider at the end of the exhale, then inhale out to the plank. And exhale back to the down dog. And then the feet go wider. So yes, you will end up with feet off the mat. Make sure you're not on too smooth of a surface. And then you're going to the rate of your own breath. And see if what you can do is at the very end of that exhale, take the step wide and not hold your breath. And then move into the inhale. So now the shoulders are going to be a little bit closer to above the wrists rather than preceding, because as you take your legs wider, they'll naturally come a little bit more forward. So she's going to keep going until she gets to the point that she really feels like she can't get any wider. It takes a few. And she's pretty flexible this way. Does that seem good?
I'm good.
She's good. Come out to the plank. And now we're going to hold it here with the action of pressing out to the sides. So let your shoulders come a little more forward and your hips will come a little more down. So you're pressing down, out at the outer hips. And you'll notice she's also pressing out at the heels, which will keep that action going. Inhaling as smoothly as you can without holding the breath, and exhaling as smoothly as you can. One more breath. Okay, make sure the chest stays dropped between the arm bones, and it has a sense of pushing forward through the arm bones. Gaze is slightly out in front of you. On your next exhale, go back to that down dog. Or how about right now? And then feet come onto the mat, and you'll do a down dog that feels a little better. You know, feels a little more natural to us. Okay, I told you we were going to hit the hips from all directions, and we start off with it right away. So now we're going to come onto our backs, and come onto your belly. Come onto your belly. And I want you to get a lifted sphinx is what I call this. So go ahead and put your elbows on the mat, and you'll be in a sphinx instead of this. You're going to slide your elbows forward. Yeah, they're going to be, more like sphinxy. Now squeeze your lower body together again. Heels are squeezing in. Take your feet slightly off the floor. And then we elevate the upper body by taking the elbows slightly off the floor and a pull back action of the hands. So Val is really good at this. You can see that her shoulders come back. There's a sensation that her elbows are both dropping downward, inward, and the final step is pulling backward. With the pull of the hands back, it can really align the chest forward. 2 more breaths. Squeeze the midline more. Right, feet right together. Okay, and then go ahead and release it, and we'll roll it over. This is the part where we get at the hips with core work combined. I guess that's what we've been doing. You're what?
I was rolling into you.
That's okay. I think we know each other pretty well. Okay, so hands at heart center.
Oh God.
All right, she's praying already. And then knees come to chest. Now extend the heels up to the ceiling. Okay, lift your body up so that you're lifting up towards the legs. And now extend your legs down just above the mat. Okay, on the inhales, we're taking one knee out to the elbow. On the exhale, extend it back out. Okay, inhale it to the elbow. Exhale, extend it back out. Okay, so continue with that. I sometimes will say this, to the point of fatigue. But by that, I don't mean to the point of fatigue past integrity, right? So if you start to feel things really going and your low back is starting to arch or just hurt, that's too long, okay? So by going to fatigue, I mean to where you fatigued your ability to still do this with integrity, okay? So see if you can lift the chest up a little higher. Oh, she's done.
My low back is
See if you
feeling
can. It was the low back.
Yes.
So she's following directions. And that's really important. Integrity matters. It might be the only thing that matters. All right, so from here, we're going into getting the hip from a more direct, unidirectional, not the external rotation, not the internal rotation, or in or out. So go ahead and place your feet on the mat, and this is the unidirectional forward and back. So let's go ahead and come up to a bridge first. So feet are hip width apart. This is the pose we'll be doing, but we'll be moving in and out of it. It won't go quite as high because we'll only have one foot on the mat to do the work of it. But for now, see if you can feel like you're moving your chest towards your head on the inhale. You can interlace your fingers underneath your back if that feels good, like Val is showing. Press your knees in the direction of your toes. Why don't you press the back of your head into the mat a little bit too? Because that gives you a little bit more ability to control what happens actually in your lower body. You might get a little more lift. All right, so let's go ahead and release this down. The body might be a little bit happier going through this now. It's strength. Strength for the front and back of the hip joint. So right leg up to the ceiling, okay? And then let's do a Kali Mudra like this, pointing up to the ceiling so you know where you're going. That's where the hips are going, okay? So on an inhale, push into the heel of the left foot and raise it up. On the exhale, lower it down, okay? So inhale, push into the heel and try to get your shoulders to push back into the floor. Awesome. And then lower it down. So inhale is pushing, and exhale is lowering. Okay? So inhale, if you push your heel more, you'll be able to utilize more of the glutes and the back musculature of your lower body. And that's what we're looking for, because otherwise you'll fatigue a lot through the front of that left thigh. See if you can keep the arms extended straight up. Integrity. Just integrity also means not losing track of some things like they become the expense. Something happening at the expense of another thing. All right, so all this stuff matters. I want you to feel good in your upper body and your lower body. All right, you think it's enough?
Yeah.
I do too. Okay, she's gonna release from that. She's gonna take a moment, however she likes to. If you wanna do another symmetrical bridge, probably a good time to try that, isn't it?
Sure.
And you're gonna, just give yourself the ability to feel that just for a breath or two. Okay? So when you lower down, you'll take a break again. Okay, whatever feels good here before we go at it. Second side. Okay. So the left heel up to the ceiling, Kali Mudra pointing at the ceiling, shoulders seated back. Inhale, push into the right heel, lift the hips. Exhale, release. Okay? So here you can also play with what happens when I press the back of my head into the floor. Okay. It should give you actually the ability to lift a little easier. You'll have to check in to see what you're checking out on. Are your toes pulling back? Is your heel pressing up? Check in with the heel that's on the floor. It's going to want to stop pushing you into the floor. And you're going to remind it to do so. Okay, so we're inhaling as we go into this, we're exhaling as we lower. You can try it both ways. It's not critical, and you get different benefits from doing it either way. Okay, so by exhaling as you raise, you're taking advantage of the power of the exhale on the exertion portion. by inhaling as you raise, you're taking advantage of the back bending quality inherent in inhale. I think that's enough.
Me too.
Okay. Okay, extend your arms overhead, extend your legs down the mat, take a couple of breaths up and down your spine. All right, and then we're going to roll it over and just roll it right over. Take a down dog. We get to go through some chaturanga up dog work. Just a little chaturanga up dog, because it wouldn't be conditioning without a chaturanga. Okay, it could be. It totally could be. Do not quote me on that. So on an inhale, you'll come to up dog. You keep the arms straight. Pull the chest through the upper arm bones. Exhale, chaturanga. Chest stays open through the upper arm bones. Look out in front of you. Inhale to the up dog. Press the arms straight. Exhale to the down dog. I'd love to see you do 5 of these.
No.
There can be a recovery breath in between. You know, don't do 5 if you lose integrity. It's as simple as that. Take a break. Join back in. These are looking so good. All right, so her up dog has a lot of integrity because her chest stays forward and her shoulder, her head of her arm bone stays back. There's a little bit of starting to lose integrity in the chaturanga. We can really help with that by just looking out in front of you. Okay, so remember to keep looking out, maybe as far forward as that when you're lowering down. Okay, awesome. What do you got? You got 3 in?
That's 4.
She did 4. If you'd like to do one more, go ahead. We'll see what she's got left. Look out in front, squeeze the elbows in, push the chest forward and up, spin the creases of the elbows forward. All right. Now really root down through the front part of your hand here. All right. So now we'll go through a sun salute. The sun salute is designed with a few extra things to help you prepare for Eka Pada Galavasana. So go ahead and step or hop to the front of the mat and make your way to extension on an inhale, to forward fold on an exhale, and then when you're ready, come all the way up. I'm going to grab a drink of water because, wow, I'm working hard here. If you need your water, grab that. Hydration is super important. We all know that. Okay, so in this we're going to play with creating length on left and right side of the body. You'll feel this length happen across the hip, across the ribs, and across the shoulders. Okay, so standing at the top of your mat, take your hands to heart center. Okay. If you're working with an intention, I always remind people at this time, it's a good cue to you to recall that intention. All right, and then release your hands. Okay, so Val's leaving a little space out in front of her so that she can jump back to chaturanga. So a little space out in front of your mat, jumping or stepping back, okay? So on the inhale, Tadasana, sweeping the arms through the side. On the exhale, Uttanasana, keeping the back straight as you go. Inhale to extension posture, look out in front of you, place your hands, lean into them. On an exhale, we're staying here, okay? Take an inhale. Exhale now is chaturanga. So you can step or hop back, and then inhale to the up dog. Push the arms straight, chest through the upper arm bones. Exhale to down dog. Take a breath. Okay, awesome. Push forward through the hands, especially the front part of the hands. Inhale, take the right leg up, and exhale, sweep it forward into warrior 2. We're going to go right to warrior 2, plant the heel. Inhale to raise up to warrior 2. Let's interlace fingers overhead, palms up. Okay, so on your next inhale, push up, we're going to reverse the warrior first, okay? And on your next inhale, you're going to push up and lengthen through right wrist, okay? And then on your next breath, it'll be lengthen through left wrist, and this means creating length on your left side body. Then the next breath is push through both wrists lengthening all the way from the hips, okay? Now straighten it up and straighten up the front leg. Okay, take an inhale here, pushing up through both wrists. Now exhale into suspended triangle. So this is where you're not going to be holding with your arm. The push through is through the easy side of the body first, the side that's already long, and then second, pushing through the side that tends to shorten and creating a little more length along the side waist, and then pushing both. Now we bend into the knee and we repeat those 3 breaths of left wrist pressing first, length along the whole left side, turning ribs up, then the right wrist, okay, and then both wrists. Track your right knee to the right when you do this. And now we're going to slide the right arm inside the right knee, left arm up to the sky. Press your leg into your arm and your arm into your leg as you slowly straighten the leg into triangle. All right, so different approach to getting into your triangle. It might alleviate some of that popping that everybody gets, but popping, it's not a problem anyway. Don't worry too much about that. We're gonna pull the shoulder back, take a few breaths. All right. So Val does a great job of taking the back of her skull into the back plane of the pose, and then maybe twisting up her gaze up a little bit. Might be super awesome. Okay. All right, bend into the knee, step it back to down dog. All right, and here we have a little more core conditioning work built right in. Inhale out to the plank, and we're gonna do plank step unders and step overs. So on an inhale, step your right foot underneath your left, and then your left foot underneath your right. Then exhale, repeating. Right under left, left under right. 2 more times. Right under left, left under right, right under left, left under right. And then again, final breath. And then this is the exhale, right? Okay, and then she's gonna go over the tops. So she's gonna go right over top of left, yeah, that's an inhale, here's an exhale. She's gonna check and see if her hips keep inching up higher and higher, and if they are, she's gotta drop them down a little bit more, a little bit more. She's counting so she gets 3 breaths in with the step unders and the step overs, okay? Okay, she's done, I know she's done, that's a lie. Okay, now take an inhale here, look out in front of you a little bit, squeeze the midline, exhale, lower it down. Okay, inhale to a nice high cobra here. So cobra is actually a more effective back bend than up dog, because you get the opportunity with your hips resting to really get the entire length of the spine working. So she's pulling back on the hands, she is drawing the chest forward and upward. Click the pinky toe side of your feet down, and that's going to give you more of a sensation of space in the low back, and you can try to reach the tailbone down towards the heels. Okay? And now from here, she can either slide her hands back a little, go right to down dog, or she can release down, take that breather with palms together overhead, which is a really nice recovery pose whenever you need it. All right, left leg is going to go up, inhale, exhale, sweep it forward, warrior 2. Plant the heel, and inhale up, palms up. And then the exhale is arc it back. We're in a reverse warrior, okay? Then we're going to inhale, we're going to lengthen now through left side first, because that's the easier side, and exhale. Then the right, you can see her doing it, awesome. And then both. And then she's going to straighten up the front leg, take the inhale, exhale, suspended triangle. She's holding out here. Starts with pressing through one wrist, and you want to feel it, that length happen all the way down across the hip, right? Yeah, so the side waist gets it. Okay, then she bends into the knee, and she's got to do those 3 breaths one more time. When you bend into the knee, consciously press out to the left side, right, to the outer side of your foot. She's got her back foot slightly forward, and that helps support the back knee. Okay, and then it's gonna, yeah, you're gonna stay bent into the knee, yeah, that one. And then she's gonna press against the hand and leg against each other as she straightens the leg, and it gives you a different sensation coming into this pose. All right, so now you can see she's got her skull drawn back towards you, and she's got good extension of her whole body, so that it's giving herself an experience of her side body, and maybe a good experience of hips as well. And then let's go ahead and come into down dog. So bend into the knees, step it back on the exhale. Take an extra breath. Okay, look between your hands. Step or hop to the front of the mat. Inhale to extension, and exhale to fold. Take a breath. And then bend into your knees, take your feet together. So your forefoot will be together, your heels will be only as wide as they need to be so that you have a straightforward action in your knees when you bend them. So bend your knees and squeeze the knees together. Inhale to chair pose. So first we're going to do a chair twist, and then we're going to do a crazy chair twist. So now sit deeper, hands to heart center. Inhale the crown of your head forward, hips back. Exhale, twist it to the right. Okay, so she's hooking her elbow. She's rolling things back, and I like to tell people, push your right palm into your left on the inhale. The exhale is try to reach your left hip back in the room more, so that you're creating all kinds of length in the parts of your body that want to shorten, right? So she's broadening her chest when she pushes down with her right hand, and then she is lengthening her side waist when she reaches back through the left hip. Next inhale, she's going to come back to the chair pose, And then exhale, sit deeper in the chair. Inhale to come all the way up. And this is arc it towards the right. Okay, so when you arc towards the right, you're stretching your left side, so you're really grounding through your sole of your left foot. And that's anchoring the bottom of the lateral, and you're extending out through the top. Okay, raise it back up, back to chair pose. Crown of the head forward and hips back. We're going to twist it to the left. Okay, and then on an inhale, pushing left palm into right. On an exhale, push the right hip back. Okay, these two actions will continually get you deeper and deeper into the pose. You might have to check in. Val is so good about keeping your skull back, but you might have to check in because it wants to draw forward in a twisting chair, and you're drawing it back to keep the extension so you have a straight axis around which you are spinning. Next inhale, she comes up. Exhale, deepen the seat. And inhale to come all the way up, palms together. And push down with the right foot, arc it left. All right, so breathe up and down your right side here. The way you can work with the breath is inhale up to fingertips and exhale, sole of the foot. Keep both sides of the body long. Even this left side needs to have its length. Then we're going to raise it up on the inhale. And now exhale back to a chair.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah. So now we're going to do the crazier chair. Okay, so if we want to twist to the right, I'm going to ask Val and you to place your left foot on your right thigh. And the sole of your left foot,
Right foot in the...
we're going to twist right first.
Oh,
Yeah, I know. It seems backwards, but it'll work.
yeah, okay.
And then we have the sole of that foot flush with the outside of the thigh. Because if you let it slide too far over, now the next part is crown of the head forward, hips down and back, get really deep. If it's way over here, I can't get my elbow to it, right? And it's a balancing pose too, okay? So I'll steady you here. And if you have the sole of the foot flush, it's gonna be easier. I'll steady you more. Okay, so she's gonna roll it on back. You won't fall if I do this, right? Don't you think, right? Maybe. Okay, so I'm gonna prop you with my hip here. There we go. So she's gonna now, she's really dropping her left knee. So now you're pushing right palm into left, and you're dropping left knee on the exhale. So the inhale is palm into palm, the exhale is drop the knee. Enough?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so on the inhale, go ahead and come up.
Oh, I probably wasn't supposed to drop my foot.
Yeah, you were hands to heart center, I think. Okay.
That's hard.
It's hard. There's so many components to that. But particularly the balance component on that one is difficult. Okay, so she's going to sit in the chair again. Just going to go right to the other side. Crown of the head forward, hips back. And yeah, she's going to go there. She's going to lean into me a little bit. She's going to, press the palm down. And she's going to drop her right knee on exhales. And then on her inhale, she's going to push her left palm down. So how you could do this at home if you wanted to have a little bit of support to get deeper in this is if you don't have somebody to call upon to be your prop, you could try just pressing this knee into a wall, that you're the right distance from the wall, that the knee can be pressing into it and giving you some stability. All right, but eventually you'll have the stability, things will build, both your ability to balance and all the strength and flexibility inherent in this. Wow, that's deep. Okay, so let's come out of that. So this is also a good prep for dragonfly pose, but that's not how we use it. Hands to heart center. Okay, recall that intention. Okay, so now we might as well try the peak pose, even though we do have more things in our sequence that we do when we meet together. But let's give it a go, because the body might be prepared, and that way you can get a little bit of an instruction on how to approach it. Okay, so you're going to take your left foot up again. She's going to be somewhere down her mat to leave her some space in front. So the left foot is going to come up, and she needs to now let her heel slide out wider than her thigh, because she needs this much space here to get her elbow down and into it, okay? So she's going to lower down. Sometimes people will have blocks out in front for this, to find the floor a little bit more easily. And now she's going to be really strongly pressing her shin into her arms and her arm into her shin. And then really flex your foot. Yeah, your foot will stay on your arm better if you can flex. She's doing great looking out in front of her, and she's working to get that back leg off of the floor. Okay, so that's Eka Pada Galavasana. Once we get the back leg off of the floor and balance, we can start to extend it up and back behind us, right? And that's where you have dynamic balance at its best. It's really challenging. All right, so she is this same side?
It's the same side, I just want to try it again.
She's gonna give it another go, so you should too. Okay, so she's leaning forward. She's shimmying her foot back. So if your back foot feels really heavy, you gotta shimmy it back. There she goes, awesome. So she got a little air there.
Straightening isn't happening, but good enough.
Exactly. So there's always more, you know, there's always more out ahead of us, but don't forget to celebrate what is now. And in this case, that air time is hugely freeing. So you're gonna go to the other side, yep. Okay, so she's leaving a little space, her foot is slid across the thigh a little. Now she's really wedging her elbow down and underneath there. She's taking her gaze out in front. She's shimmying the foot back, you know. She's shifting weight forward so that the elbows get very bent, as opposed to, some people try to kind of tip downward. They often straighten the arms when they do that too.
This side isn't it? It's harder.
Okay, so we're gonna take a breather, and then we can all try the second time on the second side as well, okay? All right.
Okay.
We're gonna give it another go on the second side. All right, so it's gonna be the right leg coming up, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay. She wanted to go to the easy side. We all have an easier side, so. All right, so the keys here are things like wedging the elbows back and under, making sure that we're pressing the leg into the arm and the arms into that shin. Oh, and then the hugging of the foot, which I can't see on that side, but you want to hug and squeeze, yep, the foot onto the arm, which is awesome. I'm just going to be a prop for your foot, and you're going to see about taking some weight. Yeah, so she's getting a little air. You might not be able to see, but at least we got it off the floor, right? One side will always be easier. And that means do more work on the side that is a little bit harder, okay? So an approach that I often give my one-on-one session clients is when one side is harder, do that side first, okay? Then do the easier side, and then do the harder side again. So you'll get more work on that side. Okay, that's it for the conditioning sequence for now. Take a Shavasana. Let your body kind of experience the opposite, the contrast to all this hard work that you've done. It's really prepared at this point to do so, so I highly recommend you take advantage of this time. Namaste.